let's move on and go to some other topics here. Um, so I did see some interesting news articles. This is probably a quick thing to talk about, but it's always great to see when traditional news talks about esports, even though we don't really care what they think, but still it's nice. um, Still it's nice. So this one is Trill, who actually used to be in Jam, but this is a way back when. Humble brag there. Um, but now he's playing in the Overwatch League, and so he had a really good article in the ABC website here about his rise in the esports scene, and also because mainly it's centered around him playing from outback Western Australia in Broome. If you guys know where Broome is, it's like
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot of ping hops to get to the US, and that's like what's happening with Trill at the moment is he's contracted to an Overwatch League team, but he's currently back home in Australia dealing with his visa to get back over to the US, and playing from his house in Broome in um, their tier 2 team who's playing games in the US. So he's dealing with like 300 ping, um, playing with those guys and having to hop different servers to get to the US. So this is a really
Yeah.
great article, which I will paste in the chat now for everyone to
That
read.
that's amazing. Look, I reckon I
Mm.
reckon playing with lag makes you a better player because obviously you've got to anticipate what your opponent is going to do before they do it. So it to see it pay off and everything like that is absolutely incredible. I mean, we've all had lag in gaming and we always blame the lag in gaming when something goes wrong, but using it to your advantage is just amazing.
And
I mean,
he's
I don't.
kind
That's right. You go.
I
You
was
go
going to
first.
say he's kind of lucky that he's an Overwatch player because Overwatch is one of the only FPS games where you can actually get away with having 200 ping. I know
That is
Aussie is
exactly
thinking
what I was
about
gonna
CS.
say.
He's thinking about
Um,
CS where there's no way a CS player could be competitive with like a 200 ping difference. It's impossible.
no
Um,
one could. Like the amount of times CS teams are playing on 100 to 200 ping to play in Asia qualifiers. I'm trying to remember the name of the qualifier it was now, but it was last year. It was a big one for DreamHack. Um, I think Tainted Minds flew out to WA to
yep,
get better ping.
yep.
That itself is a big difference. WA compared to the other states, you can like I've got friends over in WA who have played on Asia servers on 80 to 90 ping, which you can grow used to sort of
Yeah,
in
it's
CS. But
doable.
that's then coming back to the whole. Yes, it is doable, but how doable is it at the top level?
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I was going to say with Overwatch. I personally feel Overwatch on really high ping isn't that bad compared to other games.
Is it because it
Um,
has that? I can't remember what they call it, but it's like an offset thing for to cope with the latency.
Yeah, I know what you
What
mean.
they
okay.
call it, but you know what I
Um,
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the net code is it's like coded differently. It's like it's
is it
like player
yeah.
side.
latency feedback? Is that what it's called?
I
It's
don't remember. It's
basically
technical, but
yeah.
the game's just made differently where they
Mm.
handle like the
It's not
processing.
that bad.
Yeah, they handle I think they handle more of it client side. Um, so yeah, whereas in CS everything's server side. Well, not everything. I'm honestly not technical,
Hmm.
so I might be wrong. But TLDR, Overwatch is somewhat playable on like
On high
200 ping
ping.
difference, and especially
Well,
because like he's a tank player, so he just has to hold
yeah.
right click and like hit ultimates. Like he's not like in CS hitting headshots around corners and
Hmm.
pixel perfect accuracy. He's just a giant.
Way
Uh,
to simplify his
yeah,
profession, Chris. Way
I don't want to
to...
I don't want to simplify it, but yeah. Um, sorry if I'm offending any Winston mains over here, um, but yeah, it is doable, even though it still sucks. And obviously he'd prefer to be in the US. It's a lot easier to be a pro Overwatch player in Australia than it
Yeah.
is a lot of pretty much any other game, I would say. Or that's the FPS at least. Obviously you can do Hearthstone and whatever else you want with 200 ping, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And back to my point about just the ABC covering that, I think was really nice and showing his rise to their audience. And I think that was one of the first esports articles recently that I've seen on the ABC specifically. Um, Yeah,
I
so
I
think
it's a
think
little.
it's also a matter if you want something to be out there, it's approaching people. So like last year when my team won an international tournament, I reached out to a couple of local newspapers for where my players lived because one of their teams competed in it. One of their community members competed in a $50,000 tournament and won it. And so it's kind of like a buzz article that they could have had. And a newspaper in Nowra picked it up, and so that's more than likely the first time that esports has been written about for this newspaper in New
That's
South
great. I'm
Wales.
sure they got lots
Yeah.
of clicks for it. And we've written some articles for Stuff, who's a New Zealand website, and it's also I found was if is the more work you do for them, the more likely they are to just proofread it and edit it a little bit and stick it up, if they see value, obviously. So yeah, I think that, and shout out to all of the local you know, journalists and content writers that are just doing it out of passion in Australia. I know there's heaps of people that, for a lot of different games, just write articles on their favorite teams and do it just out of love for writing and esports and they're doing a great job and um, yeah, it's I always like supporting those freelancers over the big names if I can, because I think that they deserve a lot of the credit for
the
putting in the hard work.
the
Absolutely.
freelancers as well. At the end of the day, they are the ones that are sort of they're that un they're that interesting, that surprising talent. Um, so for
They're
example,
unjaded too from the
yeah,
industry.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like you could easily find like you would probably have them eventually in your Twitter DMs as an org owner, or of untapped talent, someone who's new to scene who wants to do writing. Let's say they're maybe 16 or 17, they're still in high school, right? And at the end of the day, they want to do an article because they love esports and they're doing it as part of like some sort of article in their high school,
Yep, yep.
it's some sort of newsletter. That is it. It's sort of like that is the seed to a new tree. That is a new message. Like I know going through high school where I was volunteering a lot with Citadel at the time.
I remember them.
No one, no one around me knew about esports. Even my other gaming geeky friends, they barely knew about it. They just played games. They just enjoyed playing games. And now that like I think back to that, I'm very surprised because they all played League, which I guess at the time would have been one of the biggest esports from memory. But yeah, so it's sort of your freelance article writers, to me personally, are that sort of special untapped talent that can get you those extra views, get you that extra bit of following.
Yeah,
But you also don't
Mhm.
need to be a article writer if you don't have the capacity to hire someone to write something, or if you can't find someone to write something. If you have done, you yourself or someone in your organization or even a player has done something that they should be proud of, and um, whether it's getting into an international tournament, winning an international tournament, or something like that, you can write a media release yourself and actually send it to different article agencies, newspaper journalists, or anything like that, so you can help spread the word, because a lot of the time there's things going on that just people are unaware of, and they may not know that there's this amazing event going on in town, or one of their local players or teams have competed internationally. So you can also make these opportunities for to be published in a newspaper yourself.
And adding on to that as well, we're also in a day and age where, and I guess this also sort of answers Monkey Boy, you don't need to contact the bigger news sources. Like, hello, we have Reddit. Let's say,
Yeah.
what was it that was in
But
Brisbane
that's not really
last
mainstream.
season? It's not mainstream, but what was it? The ESL event in Brisbane, um, last year, Chiefs won it for CS. I can't remember if it was the championships or if it was the invite. I can't remember specifics. Um, but even let's say you were there at the event, you took pictures, you decided to write up, you're a freelance, or you're not even freelance, you're just someone who enjoyed it and you wanted to share your experience. you've never sort of written anything up before, it's as simple as you upload it, you put it into a PDF, or you even just posting it on r/Brisbane, or if it's a IEM Sydney, you want to like write about how amazing IEM Sydney was and how much you now love esports. You've never been in it before. You write out, you put it on r/Sydney. You know, all of these, the whole online community everywhere can sort of be a news source. Your Facebook communities, your Reddit communities. There are small news sites. I'm trying to remember the new one. Not new. Is it? They're based in Sydney, not Esports Observer. And I believe
Yeah,
Aiden.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like there's a lot of news sites coming out, you know, that not even all of them are esports related, but they are very happy to have anyone who wants to write up about their experience, how much they loved this, or how much they enjoyed that, or their thoughts on any sort of event or anything that's happened. All of it at the end of the day is exposure.
Yeah, and if you see something that you like, interact with it. Click, favorite, retweet, share it, tell your friends, comment, because all of that helps obviously the reach, and it also helps those article writers just feel validated that people do enjoy what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to do it next time. So, think about if you wrote your heart and soul into something and no one even read it, you're probably not going to want to do it again. So I think, yeah, that a takeaway that I have from being around social media for a while is if you see something you like, interact with it because it really helps. Even a small little click means so much to people.